Hey everybody, Pastor Stephen Anderson here from Faith Forward Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona to talk to you about Hebrews chapter 13 verse 4, which in the King James Bible reads, "Marriage is honorable in all and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge." Well, in the modern versions, this verse has been changed and it reads completely differently. Let me read it for you from the ESV and the NIV. The ESV says, "Let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterous." Here it is in the NIV, pretty much says the same thing. "Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral." So which one's right? Well, we're going to look at the original Greek here. I'm going to prove to you that the King James is right, and there's a big difference in meaning between these two things, okay? And I'm going to explain that as well. But in this case, there is no textual variant in the Greek text. So sometimes the modern versions are saying something totally different because they're translating from a corrupt Greek manuscript. In this case, both the King James and the ESV are translating from the same Greek original. And we're going to go through this word by word. Let me just start out by explaining to you what the difference is. Because in the King James, it's saying marriage is honorable. The bed is undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Basically, what it's saying is that the activity between husband and wife in bed is a good thing. It's honorable, it's undefiled, it's pure. That act between a man and his wife is a pure act within marriage. Outside of marriage, it's wicked. Outside of marriage, it's something that God will bring his judgment down upon. Fornication is happening outside of marriage. Adultery, that's without the bounds of marriage. So that's what the King James is teaching. Now, when you read this in the modern versions of, well, we need to keep the marriage bed undefiled, that makes it sound like there's something that you do within the marriage bed that could be impure or something wrong with it. And you know, there are a lot of Christians, quote unquote, who have some perverted views on the bedroom, you know, starting with the Catholics, who basically teach that having intercourse with your own wife is you know, venial sin because, you know, it's only for procreation, or, you know, you're not supposed to enjoy it or whatever. And I'm sure you've heard about all the different weirdo teachings throughout the centuries coming from Catholics on that issue. And that's why they think that it's so much better to be celibate and everything else, because they're basically having a corrupt view of the marriage bed, not what the Bible teaches. The Bible consistently teaches that within marriage it's a good thing, okay? And then basically other groups out there have similar views, trying to say that it's only for procreation, or, you know, it's better to abstain. I mean, there are all kinds of strange teachings out there. And when you have this verse in the NIV and the ESV, it's feeding into that, as opposed to the King James telling you, hey, look, within marriage, go for it. You know, go for broke. You're married. So anyway, let's look at this in the original and let's see which one's right, okay? So here, I'm going to go through this word by word. First of all, I'll just read the whole thing. Timios ogamos en pasi, ke kiti amiandos pornus de ke michus kriniotheos. So, timios, honorable, ogamos, marriage, or literally the marriage, but it's just honorable marriage in all, en pasi, and ke, e kiti, the bed. This is where we get the word coitus in English. E kiti, the bed, amiandos, undefiled. And then we have our punctuation mark here. It's just a colon leading into pornus the. So the word the means but it comes second in the phrase. So it would be translated, but fornicators, pornus the, fornicators, and michus, adulterers, will judge, krini, future tense, otheos, God. So God will judge fornicators and adulterers. And there's your but, coordinating conjunction. So what's the first part? Timios ogamos, honorable marriage in all, and the bed undefiled. Okay. Now, in this case, we do not have the state of being verb here that we have in the King James, where it would say marriage is honorable. So basically, if we're taking the King James, we're basically adding an is here, because in English, we need a verb for an independent clause like this, okay? Whereas in Greek and Hebrew, you don't need it. So often when you're reading in Hebrew and Greek, the state of being verb isn't going to be there, so it has to be supplied. Like, well, let me give you another example of this. What about in John chapter 4 when it says, God is a spirit, okay? Here's what that would look like in Greek, okay? Okay, pneuma, theos, spirit, God. So that's all in the original, you just have spirit, God, and basically, in order for this to make sense in English, you have to add the is and say, you know, God is a spirit. God is a spirit, okay? Pneuma theos would be the original. So here we have marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. So the King James is translating this word for word, just supplying the is here, just like you'd supply the is here, just like you are frequently doing literally thousands of times when you're translating, you know, the Hebrew Bible, the Greek, New Testament, whatever, because you're going to run into this constantly where you have to supply the state of being verb that isn't used in the original languages. Okay, so what's the ESV doing, though? Okay, the ESV, let me grab the ESV, is saying, let marriage be held in honor among all. So where is this idea of holding marriage in honor? What we have is just honorable marriage. Bible's just saying honorable equals marriage. But they've added this concept of be held. Let it be held. That whole let it be mood. There's no verb here with that mood of a, say, a subjunctive or optative mood here. Where is it? It isn't there, okay? They've added that into the text, this let it be attitude. It isn't there. There's no let it be in the original. Let it be held in honor. Held isn't there. Let the marriage bed be undefiled. There's no let it be here. It just says, ikiti amiandos. Where's the let it be? Where's the subjunctive or optative mood? It isn't there. The NIV, again, says, marriage should be honored by... Where's the should here? There is no should. There's no idea of should in this verse. They are just inserting that, reading that into it, because they have weird views on marriage. And the marriage bed kept pure. Okay, and again, there's no keep it pure. There's no it should be kept. Where's kept? Where's held? Where's let it be? Where's should? These are all just being added. So the King James adds an is because you have to have an is in order for this to make sense in English. They're just putting in a state of being. They're not adding anything radical. They're just making it coherent in English. But the ESV and the NIV are making all these radical changes. Should, let it be, kept, held. It's adding all these elements that aren't in the original. So, you know, the King James is giving you an accurate translation. And this, like I said, this matters because, you know, the King James is giving us a powerful verse telling us that the marriage bed's undefiled, you know, giving us a green light in the bedroom as married couples to enjoy that union. And you know what? It's not just for procreation. Guess what? There are all kinds of scriptures, Proverbs chapter 5, the book of Song of Solomon, that rejoice in and laud the virtues of that relationship, the joy and the pleasure that's found in the marital relationship. It's perverts who have this weird view of, you know, they're going to go beat themselves or something because they desired their wife. You know, these bunch of Catholic monks or whoever. So, you know, the plain reading of the text is exactly what the King James says. God bless.